Hi everyone. I felt like it was probably time for a bit of an update because things have taken quite a big turn for the worse. Um, so you will remember, well, hopefully you'll remember last week I said that a friend of mine had recommended that I go and see a back surgeon called Dr. Dare um, at Wessex Nuffield to talk about a dissectomy. While preparing for that, I requested my scans from the patient liaison service at Conquest Hospital in Hastings, and I received the radiology report the day before my appointment with Mr. Dare. And on that report, it said that there was a possible anterior cord lesion at T5, T6, which they hadn't told me about when I was there. And obviously, that's a massive concern because the MOG neurological condition that I have can cause lesions, a bit like MS, that can be debilitating and basically cause motor paralysis and bladder and bowel issues. Essentially, everything that I've been complaining about. So I was really frustrated about that. They also said that there was a mild herniation at the not T, sorry, L5, L4, which is like the lumbar area, the base of your spine. And there was a slight narrowing of the spinal cord, which I think is called spinal stenosis. Um, None of which had been told to me. I was told about the mild herniation, but not about the anterior cord lesion or about the narrowing of the spinal cord. So I was already quite distressed before going to the appointment. Met my dad at the appointment in Eastleigh the next day, and the doctor was amazing. Wow, going to private medical care is completely different to the NHS. You just get treated so well. Um, and he listened to me. He was really respectful. He listened to the whole story. And then he said, which absolutely shook me, there's absolutely nothing wrong with your spine. It's one of the healthiest spines I've ever seen in a 37-year-old. He was like, if my spine looked like yours, I'd be thrilled. There's no sign of a herniation now. There's no sign of a herniation previously. I think that the NHS have been leading you up the garden path, trying to fit you into a box, essentially. And I think this is clearly neurological. And I had so much riding on that appointment. I was really hoping for a treatment plan. I was really hoping for surgery to be planned so that I could start getting on with my life. Tom had booked us to go on holiday from tomorrow to Mykonos, or yeah, to Mykonos in Greek island, to this like quite small vegan spa for a week where we were planning to have like no laptops, no phones, and I was going to mentally prepare for surgery. And I'd gone there hoping that he would tell me that it was safe for me to go. And he said to me that he felt that it was safe for me to go. And he said, I think it's probably important that you do for your mental health and to de stress. But he was just like, I'm going to refer you to a neurosurgeon and a neurologist here that I trust that are very senior for a second opinion on what's going on because it could very well be your MOG condition. Um, I don't think he could see the lesion at the T5, T6. I think he said that he couldn't see that. Um, anyway, very stressful. I was very distressed. You know, I think because in my head, a discectomy was quite a tangible thing that could sort things out quite quickly, even if there was going to be a rehab period. And now we're talking about something that is potentially a lot worse. We're talking chemotherapy, radiotherapy, intravenous steroids, plasma, what's it called? Plasma exchange. Those are the kinds of things that need to happen in an acute onset of or an episode of MOG. Um, or an anterior cord lesion is not a very good prognosis. Like it's not good. Let's just say that. Anyway, so I went home and I thought I'll just wait for this referral, get a second opinion, try and stay calm, because often in the absence of good information, you start looking on the internet and making stuff up and I work myself up quite a lot. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just focus on looking after myself like I have been, eating well, sleeping well, drinking lots of water, exercising, looking after my mental health until I can see this neurosurgeon, neurologist. Anyway, cut to Friday. I was taking a 5 minute walk outside, and out of nowhere, I collapsed. I lost all power to my legs. Um, my arms went stiff, my hands went stiff. Um, I started to get numbness over this side of my face. I called my father-in-law and said, "Are you home? I think I need your help. I can't walk." And he was like, "Yeah, I'll come pick you up in the car." And I was like, "Actually, this is getting back worse. I think I need to go to A&E. I think I'm having some kind of an episode." And he drove really quickly, came and picked me up, took me to A&E, ran inside, got someone with a wheelchair. They said, "Do you normally have seizures?" And I could barely speak at the time. I think I was in shock. And she lifted me into the wheelchair. They pushed me straight into orthopedics, where they did a CT scan. My blood pressure was really low. They did some bloods, they did urine tests, all of that stuff that they usually do. I stayed in overnight, so I was there for like 24 hours. My father-in-law slept next to me in a chair all night. The CT scan ruled out an aneurysm, a stroke, a blood clot in the brain, anything like that. But you know, they were asking me to do, power tests with my strength tests, and I absolutely couldn't lift my legs at all. I had absolutely no power in them for about an hour, which was very, very scary. Um, and I stayed in overnight. My mum and my stepdad swapped in with my father-in-law in the morning. Um, the doctors came back and said, "You've got a very strange mix of symptoms. We don't really know what's going on. We're waiting to hear from neurologists in Brighton, which is where my neurologist is based, but she's on holiday." Um, and basically, they came back and said, "You need to have an MRI Tuesday morning." It's not, they don't, the neurologists in Brighton don't think it's serious enough for you to be blue lighted to Brighton to have an MRI right now. But they want you to come back Tuesday morning and have an MRI. Um, it's not safe for you to go on holiday. It's not safe for you to fly, which was obviously really, really upsetting. And basically, we're going to send you home, and you need to just not do anything or go anywhere until the scan, because it could happen again. So, anyway, I go home with my parents. I sleep all day on Saturday. And then they say, "Why don't you come back to our house in Woking? We'll bring Mishka with you. That's my dog, if you don't know. And wait until Tom gets back from tour." And as they helped me pack some stuff, and I got in the car, and as we started driving to Woking, I started having some other kind of mini episode as well. Really bad migraine, vertigo, sickness, weakness in my legs. And I went back into A&E that night for a couple of hours, and they said, I explained what was happening, and the doctor said, "Well, what do you want us to do for you?" And I was just like, "Well, I'm scared to be at home, really. I'm scared to be at home because I feel like another episode is coming on. I'm still feeling really weak. And you told me to come back if I feel worse." And he said, "Yes, we always say that, but we don't actually know what to do with you. You've got to wait for this MRI scan." And he said to my mum, I don't think it's safe for you to drive her for 2 hours back to Woking. Can you stay with her tonight?" And she said, "Yeah." So her and my stepdad stayed with me. And I've basically been in bed since, and I've got really bad migraines, really bad vertigo. So the migraine's kind of always there. The vertigo comes and goes, but I've got no strength to my legs. Tom's back now and he's looking after me, but just don't know what to do, don't know what's going on. So the MRI will happen tomorrow. If I'm lucky, I'll have results within a week. If I'm not, it will be 8 weeks. Then, I'll hopefully, I'm hoping tomorrow, because it's, the bank holiday is today. Tomorrow I'll try and call up Dr. Dare again and say, "Please, can I have that name for that neurosurgeon and neurologist?" And I will try and book in an appointment this week if it's possible, but I'm going to have to be driven there. It's going to be really hard to do that journey now. Um, I don't know what this means for work. I don't think that I can go anywhere for a long time. But yeah, something is going on, and I don't really understand why they're not just following the line of inquiry of it being MOG and giving me intravenous steroids, which would be the first thing to do to bring down the inflammation and help with any kind of nerve damage if that's what's happening. But they said that they can't treat it as MOG without a diagnosis because the first thing with the NHS is not to cause more harm, or, something like that. So anyway, this is my update. It's not very good. I don't know what this means, but I think that the prognosis that is neurological and not a back problem is definitely worse. And I think it's going to be an expensive journey from here on in, basically. So I'm very grateful to you all for your support, for your financial support, and all of your loving messages as well. Everyone's checking in, which is really kind. One small favor, if you could please stop sending me messages asking me how I'm feeling and just assume that it's bad, because it is very, very depressing to have to keep replying to people saying, I'm still sick, nothing's changed. I know that everyone wants to know how I am, but I'm not getting better soon. So it's actually just really hard for me to have to keep telling people that I'm still sick. Anyway, I'll try and keep you all updated with any new information. And I hope that you're having a nice bank holiday weekend.